those who don't believe that we went to the moon, we are going to prove you wrong by going to the surface and looking at this instrument right here. Would you like to take an interactive virtual tour of this spacecraft, or this spacecraft, or this spacecraft, or even this spacecraft? Well, stay till the end and we'll show you how. In this issue of Spacecraft Guide, not only are we going to debunk those who say we didn't land on the surface of the moon, but we are going to go to the surface of the moon and show you the experiments that we placed there that proved we were there and the science that we got from them. So when you click here, it takes you to the Lunar Surface Magnetometer, which is a tri-axis flux gate magnetometer measuring the variations of the magnetic field of the moon with time. Because the magnetic field of the moon can change in amplitude, frequency, and direction, the magnetometer measured the field in 3 directions with sensors located at the end of 3 small booms. So that's these booms right here. And it could measure the magnetic flux in nanoteslas in 3 ranges with a resolution of 0.2 nanoteslas, which is a very, very small amount of electronic energy, as you can see here. Now, if we're going to go into the normal operations, and this is where we get into the information about how the instrument was used to determine information about the moon. So with the seismic information, which we went over a few weeks ago, this information from the magnetometer, and the heat flow experiments, which we'll be going over later this next month, contributed to the principal information about the moon's interior. What we found is the moon is slightly asymmetric in bulk form. Okay, that means that one side's got a little bit more mass than the other. This is possibly as a consequence of its evolution under Earth's gravitational influence. Its crust is thicker on the far side, while most volcanic basins and unusual mass concentration, so a lot more mass, occurs on the near side. So the near side of the moon is attracted to the Earth, which is why when you look at the moon, the image never changes. It's like we only get one side of the moon, and that has to do with gravitation because it's attracted to the Earth. So when they say, well, when the naysayers about us landing on the moon say, well, when they never seen a dark side, it was always like a studio with the light always in the same area. That's because they planned it for the 14-day or 356-hour day that the moon has. They wanted to land on the moon when the sun was out, so they didn't have to spend any more mass to have lights on board to see the surface of the moon. That's why they did that. The other thing is, remember it was 0.2 nanotesla what it could measure? That's a very, very sensitive device, and that can only be put on the moon's surface by a human being. Otherwise, if it tried to land on it, it might jar the instrument and break it. So that all has to do with why we landed on the moon, and the people who say we didn't, well, here's the proof. But for those who are under the or on one of our Patreon subscribers, we're going to go back and go deeper into how this worked and how we know that we went to the moon. Again, debunking even more conspiracy theories by the people who say we never landed on the moon. That's all for this week. If you would like to use this interactive virtual reality exhibit on the command module, the lunar module, and the surface of the moon, just go to our Patreon page and the link will be down below.